meadow sky. Friday night's calling and the towns go quiet. From Doug Shaw Memorial to John McKissick Field, Carolina football, it's the heart we feel. Pickup trucks line up, tailgates in a row, hot stadiums rocking, Abbeville's ready to go. The Sumter Gamecocks charge, Gaffney's standing tall, every small town's dreaming neath the lights of fall. Four-quarter Friday, where the heart beats pound, Carolina shuts down every town. From the first snap to the final play, we're living for the glory of a four-quarter Friday. In Gilbert, America, the bleachers fill with pride. Cheerleaders shout, the band's playing, no one's staying inside. The boys in pads hit hard, chasing that old dream. Under stadium lights, it's more than just a team. Mamas clutch their programs, daddies yell the calls, grandpas talk of legends in these hallowed football halls. From the low country marshes to the upstate's clay, four-quarter Friday lights the Carolina way. Four-quarter Friday, where the heart beats pound, South Carolina shuts down every town. From the first snap to the final play, we're living for the glory of a four-quarter Friday. Shaw's roar to McKissick's sacred ground. Hot stadiums fire, you can feel the sound. Sumter Gamecocks fly, Gaffney holds a line, J-Mo run the dang ball, we're screaming for a sign. Rivalries burn bright, the clock's ticking down. On four-quarter Friday, we're the talk of town. When the whistle blows and the scoreboard fades away, the lessons from the field guide us every day. Teamwork, grit, and pride, it's more than just a score. Carolina football's what we're fighting for. From the PD rivers to the upstate's misty hills, four-quarter Friday gives our hearts a thrill. Four-quarter Friday, where the heart beats pound, South Carolina shuts down every town. From the first snap to the final play, we're living for the glory of a four-quarter Friday. So here's to the Palmetto boys, giving it their all on a four-quarter Friday. South Carolina stands
tall. Welcome to Four-Quarter Friday, part of the Chief Sports Network. Talking South Carolina high school sports every Friday morning, hosted by Justin Hall and Steve Hall. With weekly appearances from coaches, players, and media around the state. Let's go! Kick off the first quarter. Here's Justin and Steve. Happy Friday.
That's right. Happy Friday to you. It was a rainy start to the Friday here in the Midlands of South Carolina, but the sun's starting to peek through here. I see the sun is shining bright at Byrnes High School. Justin Hall, Steve Hall, no relation. Former Gamecock quarterback Jay Urich joining us for the entirety of our program today. We'll get to that in a minute, but we lead off the show with the head coach of the Byrnes Rebels, Coach Reggie Shaw, joining us. Are you joining us from the field, Coach?
Yes, sir. We're at our welcome to Nixon Stadium. This is our annual Friday morning walkthrough. Beautiful morning up here. Excited for a heavyweight bout here in a few hours.
Yeah, top 10 matchup between Dorman and Byrnes tonight. It's probably going to be one of the headliners of the entire state and certainly one in the upstate. Coach, your team's off to a good start. I said it to open the season. I liked where you guys were as a program. Just tough last year having to be on the road for 10
Yeah.
games and having to deal with all that. But you come through the adversity, and now you're sitting here 3-1. We won't talk about that one,
Mhm.
but assess your team to this point. Where are you guys in respect to where you thought you'd be preseason?
Yeah, I think we're pretty close. As always in preseason, you find some weaknesses, but it's great to play, great competition. First two games, we opened the gate, Teohan and Irmo, and you find out a lot about yourself in those first 2 weeks, and it helps you really grow, I think. Playing great competition early has really helped us, and we're starting to hit our stride. We're starting to make less mistakes. We've got some young guys in some key spots and getting some guys back. Had a couple preseason injuries, but excited to be close to full strength.
Yeah, close to full strength for sure. And Coach, I'll let Jay come in here in just a second, but I got to ask you about, you're pushing yourself against that top tier talent. But you guys, when you get into region play, it's for some teams it's a little different.
Yeah,
For you guys, it's you're staying at that weight class the entire season. So how are you guys responding to that challenge each and every week? Obviously, opening with Hannah and having Irmo thrown in there as well. How have they
yeah.
responded to those tough tests before getting into region play?
They've been composed. I mean, it starts with just doing the little things right. We it's not a cliche here, but we want to love each other, man. If you don't love each other, love the process, and love the game, it's hard to do what we do. It's become a year-round endeavor, and we ask a lot out of them. We coach them hard, we love them hard, we try to give them the best of everything, because a lot of them not going to play at the next level, and this is their last experience in football. So I want it to be as close to a D1 college experience as possible, and our guys have embraced what it takes to be successful.
Coach, thank you for joining us. What's it like in a game like this? I mean, I think the whole entire state looks forward to this game every season.
Hmm.
What is it like for the player? And Jay, I'd love to kind of hear your take on this a little later, or here in just a second. But for the player, on this kind of game, the magnitude of this rivalry that y'all play every year. How do you get these guys to make sure they're settled in
Yeah.
before they hit the field?
Well, it's our approach every week. I don't, we put our goals boards up, and it's got 15 weeks on there, and it doesn't have an opponent. It has Byrnes. It doesn't matter who we play in. The standard doesn't change. What we do, it doesn't matter. And so, but this one is a little different because these guys grow up 10 miles apart. And so it's a long time rivalry. They grew up from 5 to 6 years old. They've been playing against each other, going to church together, competing against each other. So they know each other well. And it's an old storied tradition around here, Byrnes versus Dorman. It goes back for 60 years, and it's always something on the line when they play. And it's all, you throw the record out, and it's always going to be a great game.
So, Coach, going into this game tonight, obviously a headline grabber as a player for y'all, and maybe Gamecock fans know about this is Trey Segura. Tell folks who are watching this who may have a bit of a Gamecock bent, as opposed to a lot of those folks in the upstate. Tell us a little bit about Trey and what makes him so special.
Trey's just different. I mean, he's a once in a lifetime kind of guy. 4.5 GPA and 3 sports star. I mean, elite soccer player. Had a chance to go try out for the U.S. Olympic team, Junior Olympics. That's the level of soccer, and that really gave him skills as a running back that you don't see at his age. He's a 4-5 guy, but he can also cut on a dime, or he can run over you. He has great vision. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, but you just got to talk about his character. Great parents who've raised him the right way. He's a selfless dude. His stats are not even secondary to him. It's about the team first, and he puts the team first. And a couple weeks ago, I mean, this epitomizes Trey. We're at Greer, and he's had a great game. He's rushed for 2 touchdowns already and caught one. And his teammate wasn't having such a great game. He'd had 2 fumbles. That's Kobe Fuller. And so instead of scoring, Trey runs out of bounds at the 2 and calls for Kobe to come in to get some success and score a touchdown. That's just kind of guy he is, Soccer player, went out for wrestling this year, never wrestled before, finished 5th in the state. And then you know what he does on the field. So, he leads by example in the classroom, everywhere. I mean, I just can't say enough about this young man.
And then finally, Coach, I know you got a busy Friday and it's game day, so we want to make sure we respect your time. As y'all look ahead this season, obviously you're taking it one game at a time. What's it going to take tonight for Byrnes to come out on top against Dorman?
Yeah, I think we always got to establish a run game. They're a run-dominant team. They run the ball really well, and they can control the clock and the number of possessions. We got to protect the ball well. Ball security is going to be huge. The turnover margin's always something I keep up with. Special teams, we got to be better. We've got to win the field position battle and be able to strategically place the ball. And then, not give up the deep ball. Their offense puts you in a bind. They run the ball really well, and then they get you with play actions, and we got to be disciplined on the back end. But we just got to be balanced on offense. We got to be able to throw it when we want to, not when we have to.
That is Coach Reggie Shaw of the Byrnes Rebels at New Nixon Field. That's a nice field y'all got there, Coach. Let me tell you, that's a beautiful ballpark y'all have, and it's quickly become a cathedral. That's for sure. That's for sure. That's Coach Reggie Shaw of the Byrnes Rebels. Good luck tonight, Coach, in that big-time rivalry game that the entire state will have its eyes on. Best of luck to you.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate all you do. Go Rebels.
It's Coach Reggie Shaw of the Byrnes Rebels, Steve. I'm telling you, if you want to track his games, I'm going to go ahead and give you the plug because I didn't at the beginning. Let me make sure I do this. If you want to track that game, you want to track any game tonight, make sure you download the Chief Sports app, as JB called it yesterday, the handy-dandy Chief Sports app. A little Blues Clues reference for you. Make sure to download that. You can track every game across the state on the scoreboard. You can even stream multiple games on your phone if you're at Byrnes Dorman, but you want to keep up with Ridgeview Westwood. We'll be talking about that one later. Download the app there.
Justin, dude, thank you for letting everybody know that. Jay, we're thrilled to have you. Are we coming in clear? We needed to.
Yes.
Okay, good.
You are. Thanks for having me.
So a little bit about Jay and why he's here. Number one is he is a former high school player in this state, played at Wren High School. He was actually selected to the North-South All-Star game. We'll maybe talk a little bit about that later. And I met Jay through a mutual friend of ours and a few months ago, and started learning about what he's now doing post sport. And he's created a new company called Banner Player Development. We'll let you go into that here shortly, but we got to run through some games first in the PD before we go to our first break. The Manning Monarchs are going to East Clarendon to play the Wolverines. Wilson Tigers, they're 4-1, 1-0 in region play, and they're going to the Hartsville Red Foxes to play another game in Kellytown. That's always going to be a good game. Watch out for that one. The Gators of Lakeview are going to Hemingway. Lake City, the Panthers, are going to play at Kingstree to see the Blazers this Friday night. Allendale Fairfax is going to Lake Marion. Darlington, let me get the plug, Justin. The Your My Darlington Falcons. That's right. Going to Lakewood to play the Gators. The Gators are looking for their first win of the year. Marion Swamp Foxes are going to play the Auctioneers of Mullins. And then lastly, the last game in the in the PD, Cane Bay is going to play at Doug Shaw Memorial in Myrtle Beach. So before we get to the rest of the games, we're going to go to our first break. We'll see you here in a couple minutes.
It's football season. The Barn Dominium Company wants to help you build your dream home with your dream space. to watch the games and entertain your friends and family. Make your dream a reality. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. That's thebarndominiumco.com for floor plans, photo galleries, locations, and to learn more about us.
Oh man, the building is on fire.
Emergencies and accidents happen. When you're in the middle of a fire or water event, all you want is for things to return to normal as soon as possible. Resto Pros of the Midlands is with you, guiding you through the process and working with you to get your home or office back in working order. They'll answer your questions, discuss procedures, and can act as your advocate when it comes to processing your insurance claim. Resto Pros Midlands SC.com. Open 24/7 when you need them. Quality that is guaranteed.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawsc.com. hdlawsc.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team.
Check the statewide high school scoreboard every Friday night on the Chief Sports app.
Welcome back to the Four Quarter Friday show. Jay Urich is with us to co-host with us all the episode today. Jay is with Banner Player Development, former quarterback at Wren High School, and a former Carolina Gamecock. Jay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you for joining us, man.
Of course, thank y'all for having me. Had to rep this morning. Gonna be a good bounce back one for the Gamecocks. I know this is we're gonna be talking about high school sports, but I had to put that in there.
There you go. Always,
That's awesome, man.
always got to put that in there.
Hey, Jay, tell us a little bit about Banner Player Development. That's something that, me and you met on a few months ago, and I just thought it was really neat what you're doing to serve kids and parents and coaches in this state of ours. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, Steve, exactly. I really saw there a huge problem that as athletes were finishing up their careers, whether it be in high school, college, or even some professional athletes that I know when they're done playing, they just experience a new season. And that season is also often met with a loss of identity because their sport is everything they know how to do and everything that their time is going towards. And so whenever that's taken away and no longer there, some athletes are depressed or just, unsure of what's next. And so, I have a super big passion to help those athletes and sort of attack that problem early by helping high school athletes start to understand what it looks like to thrive beyond sports. And so whether it be identity, leadership, character, professional development, all those things that are so important, we're trying to sort of attack that problem early and support them to where, they have so much ahead of them, even whenever their sport's done.
No doubt about that. And Jay, real quick, before we get to the upstate stuff, I want to ask you a little bit more about that. How important is it for this to be starting at the high school level as opposed to waiting until the collegiate level? Obviously, you were a high school quarterback and a college quarterback. How important is it to get a foot in the door in this realm now with high school players, considering how much the game has changed?
Yeah, Justin, it's so important. And at South Carolina and the big schools in the ACC and the SEC, you have that position of the director of player development. And you have that person that's always there for you and to support you. And like you mentioned, as high school athletics is changing, it's so important. It was important back in the day when I was playing, in 2015 through 2017. But now with all the added extra pressures with, I know NIL isn't necessarily a big thing in high school sports in South Carolina, but there's new challenges and new pressures. And it's always been that way. In athletics, you are judged based upon your performance. And that is obviously a big part of football. And it's good to work hard to achieve your goals and help your team win and to have personal success. But I think it's also so important for young athletes to start to learn the foundation of where does your value come from? Because if your value is in how you perform every week, specifically as a football player, then it's going to be shaky and you're going to have super high highs, but even the best of the best players have super low lows. And so how do we create and teach young people where their value comes from that actually empowers them to play free, have fun, enjoy this time in high school while you're there. And that's something that I would tell my, past self of like, enjoy it. There's going to be great experiences, but there's so much to learn, and there's so many different people that have been where they are to, hopefully inspire them to, know what's next for them.
Well, Jay, I think what you're doing is great. I was sitting here thinking about this, the last couple days this week, and we got some monster games we're going to go over here in a second, especially in the upstate. We just interviewed Coach Reggie from the Byrnes Rebels. They're going to play Dorman tonight. And just one of the things that's so unique, not only about this time period of high school sports, we got a transfer portal now. We got NIL potentially coming down the pipeline for high school students. But just throw all that out the window, and you have high school kids with other stuff going on in their life. They have academics. They have maybe a breakup on that just happened. Maybe they broke up with their girlfriend or family stuff going on. And, that stuff plays into a Friday night, believe it or not. We got these games we're going to talk about, and, sometimes we look at a game and like, well, that team's probably going to, that team's struggling. This team's probably going to win. But on Friday nights, the parity is there. You never know what's going to happen. A great example of that is Oceanside has their down goes Fraser moment last week and beats Dutch Fork. What an incredible storyline that is. But who knows what's going to happen tonight? We're going to go into some more of these games here in the upstate. We got a ton of them to go through. We got the Pickens Blue Flame going to play at Berea. We got the Broome Centurions going to play Blacksburg. Landrum is going to play Blue Ridge, the Fighting Tigers. Eastside is at Boiling Springs. Sherall at Central is one to look out for. A massive game there. Sherall's 3-2, lost bigly to River Bluff last week and proved me wrong. River Bluff did. They did the 67 points last night, which apparently there's a new thing going around, 6-7. I don't. Someone's got to help me out with that.
I'm too old for that. I have no idea.
No doubt. Hampton County, another massive game for them this week, going to Christ Church. Liberty Red Devils are at Crescent. The Seneca Bobcats are 5-0, 1-0 in region, and going to play at Daniel. That's a big one to look out for. And then Clover. This is our first highlighted game, Justin. Clover is going to play at Fort Mill. Tell us what you're looking at for that one.
Well, Clover's been playing well under Coach Perry Woolbright, and he just got his 100th victory of his career a couple weeks ago. The Woolbright name and high school football are synonymous in this state. Fort Mill was 4-0. Tough game against Catawba Ridge last week. At that point, they had not been 4-0, by the way, guys, since 1982. The Thriller album and Epcot debuted that year. It's insanity. Fort Mill's off to a really good start this year. My thing on this is, and we looked at this with Arnie last year, kind of monitoring this with Spring Valley this year and a few others. When you break streaks or you get off to a historic start and you take that first loss, what's the response like in week 2? You can't let Catawba Ridge beat you again when you're not playing Catawba Ridge. And now you're hosting a very tough Clover team that is a region game. You're already 0-1 in region. You don't want to be sitting 0-2 in region play. That's a tough region. You'd like to get to 1-1 and get your feet back under you. Fort Mill scores points. Their defense is really good. I'm monitoring that game not so much for the statistical side of it, but more so for the mental. And I'm glad we have Jay here for that. The mentality of where Fort Mill is going to be coming off of a tough loss, and how do they respond against a very difficult matchup with Clover?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. Being able to respond after, you have that big loss, and I think one of the biggest things is confidence, and that's for every team. You want to be able to go into each game confident and within the game plan, but also within your teammates and as a coach, your players. And so I think that's something that they're going to really focus on. Obviously, probably this past week is instilling that confidence in the guys to where even though you had a loss, you're able to just bounce back, and I think it's so important for the players to know that, like, their coaches believe in them, and everybody around them believes in them to where they can respond in the right way. I think they will tonight.
Awesome. The next game we got Patriots of Jail Man are going to Greenville. They're 3-1. Jail Man is 1-3, and Jail Man's looking to bounce back after kind of a rough season to begin with. But they're 1-0 in region, and Greenville's 1-0 in region. It'll be an interesting game there. Hillcrest is going to Greenwood. Greenwood had a tough loss last week, but they are still, I think, Justin, we've talked about Greenwood a lot this year. They're tracking very, very well to go make a deep run.
They need to stop the run. I'm concerned. They are not stopping the run. That could be problematic as we get further in the year. Go ahead.
Yep. That's great. Dorman, this is the big one. Dorman, 3-1, 1-0 in region. At Byrnes, 3-1, 1-0 in region. We talked about this game already with Reggie Shaw a little bit. Give us a few more notes on it, Justin. I'm sure you got a couple for us.
The key there is the run game in both. I just mentioned that with Greenwood, but Byrnes establishing the run game. It'll be a game of big plays. It'll be a game of momentum shifts, as it typically is. Dorman's quietly having a very good year. The key is going to be to get Trey Cigar going, to get that entire run game going, and then it is at Nixon Field, so home field will be a big factor in this ball game. But can you weather the early storm if you're Dorman? If Dorman weathers the early storm here, and we're looking mid-second quarter, late in the first half, and this is a nip and tuck kind of ball game, you're going to have an instant classic on your hands, because these are two teams that are physical. They run the ball well, and they pride themselves on stopping the run. Byrnes' only loss this year was by 3 to Irmo. Irmo's the new number 1 in 5A. And that loss I would argue they probably should have won that game. They had a couple of turnovers that didn't bounce their way. So Byrnes is a really good football team. Again, it's a region matchup. It's a rivalry matchup, but Dorman is quietly the number 7 team in the state in 5A for a reason.
Yeah, not a lot of people have been talking about Dorman this year, but we've talked about Byrnes a lot. With their new stadium and the fact that they're getting to play at home again. But both of these teams are vastly improved over last season. Jay, talk to us a little bit about when you're you're in a traditional power in South Carolina high school football in Dorman or Byrnes, and you have a down year like both teams did kind of have that last year. How does the preseason, the off season, how do you turn that around as a coaching staff and as a player?
Yeah, I think first off is I think what most people are, think about is there's some sort of frustration. I think that's you can call it like it is. Whenever you're expected to have success and be that powerhouse and you don't perform up to that level, we can have all the coach speak you want, but there is some sort of frustration, and we got to get back to playing Byrnes football or Dorman football. And so I think specifically with the coaches on each staff and the success they've had, the community knows it. They know it. Let's get back going. And so I think instilling that mindset of this isn't okay. And from there, every single day, even Reggie was saying, it's every day's the same. Every opponent is the same. That mindset is so important, so that you can't change the whole year in one game. You just got to focus one at a time. And I think they're doing a good job to start to restore that. And then now it's just on the players. It's the coaches being able to instill that confidence, like I was talking about earlier. But then just one play at a time. That's what the player's mindset should be focused on, is one play at a time, do your job, whether that be, pass blocking on first down or as a DB, going up and making a big play, or just, doing your job, whatever that looks like. And so I think that is one of the biggest keys that, Coach Muschamp at South Carolina was, famous for saying, is just do your job.
Yeah, that's great. Going through some of the rest of these games here, we got the Richland Northeast Cavaliers going to Lancaster. Buford Yellow Jackets going to play the North Central Knights. We have to briefly talk about this one, Justin, but Catawba Ridge, coming off a big win last week, going to Northwestern, another massive region game.
Northwestern can score points. Catawba Ridge can score points. Can they stop Xavier Means and Paige Wolford's offense? That's the key.
Yeah. Then we got the Trojans of Carolina Academy going to Pendleton. Gaffney is 2-2 now, 1-0 in region. They're looking to put 2 wins together in a row and go to Spartanburg tonight. That's another massive game. Carolina Forest is going to Southside Christian. Malden going to TL Hanna. TL Hanna is bounced back after losing to, I believe it was Byrnes in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
And they're starting to play well again. Greer Yellow Jackets are 1-0 in region. I know they were looking for that one. Going to Travelers Rest. We have Clinton Red Devils going to Union County. The Clear Dot Charter Bats are 2-3 and going to Ware Shoal. Abbeville is going to West Side. Ridge Spring Monetta is going to Whitmire. Easley Green Wave is going to Woodmont. And we got the Wren Golden Hurricanes, and now will be known as the Fighting Jay Urichs, hosting Woodruff. 5-0 on the year. Jay, I know you can give us some Wren notes really easily here, I'm sure. But some notes I got here, okay. This is the last game for both teams before region play. But Aiden Gibson, the running back for Woodruff, is on a tear. He's got 11 TDs overall this year. He's 6'2", 203, being recruited by Coastal, Liberty, South Carolina, Virginia Tech, Tennessee, App State, Florida State. I mean, this guy is just tearing through the schedule along with his teammates. And Woodruff is tracking. If they beat Wren tonight, they look like they are in for an undefeated season as long as they can get through that region. And I think for most part, it's them or Mountain View potentially in that region. But what do you see from Wren? What's Wren going to look to do tonight? Obviously, stop Aiden Gibson. Oh, I think we lost Jay's.
Okay, he's not muted. Let's try to do that again.
Are we have internet? Let's see if I can remove him from the stage real quick.
Yeah, bring him out. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome.
Sometimes the tech difficulties on a live show.
Yeah, so I mean, stopping the running back is going to be huge, but their quarterback at Woodruff too. I mean, I think he's been throwing for a bunch of yards, and they have a balanced offense, and so being able to look at those stats from the year from their whole team, I think they're just obviously a really good opponent, one of the best ones I think that Wren has faced yet. But as far as Wren goes, I mean, at home, I think it's going to be a wild environment to be able for Woodruff to come into, and I think Coach Freight's gonna really have an opportunity to inspire his guys to put out everything they can. And I know their offense coordinator, Coach Perdermo, he was our receiver coach at the time I was playing, and Wren's very focused on the run game. They're more of a run heavy offense than a pass offense right now this year. And talking to those guys over there and knowing them well, I know you can look at the stats. They're gonna want to run the ball, and I'm hoping that the quarterback there, Jacob Owings at Wren, can get some confidence. Maybe.
Did we lose him again? Might have lost him again.
Am I back now? I'm good.
Yeah, you're good.
Palm Casual Outdoor Patio Furniture proudly supports high school athletics across South Carolina. If it's time to make your outdoor space the best it can be, with lifetime warranties and guarantees, visit one of our Palm Casual stores in Myrtle Beach, Bluffton, Somerville, or Mount Pleasant. PalmCasual.com. PalmCasual.com. Turn on the lights. It's Friday night.
At Moultrie Insurance, our agents are working for you. Our commercial lines of coverage are well sourced and intimately chosen. We offer commercial lines of coverage such as business owners, umbrella, property, auto, or general liability coverage, and evaluate every option to find what fits you best. Like a good offensive coordinator, we will draw up the plays, but only run with what you feel comfortable. Get in touch with our quarterback, Perry Orth, or our head coach, Frank, by visiting MoultrieINS.com. MoultrieINS.com.
I don't think we can hear Steve, so we'll try to get him corrected. Hopefully Jay can hear me and everything is fine and good to go. I'm getting levels. All right, Jay. So let's talk about this a little bit because we're dealing with some pre-snap penalty stuff. So we'll have to get this correct to get it cleaned up. We'll put ourselves in the Gamecock shoes. While Steve's trying to figure out a situation, we got to hit the low country a little bit. We're playing behind the sticks this morning, so let's try to get ourselves ahead a little bit. Let's see if we can hear the other Hall in this show here in just a second. The Hawks of Hanahan are traveling to Andrews to take on the Yellow Jackets tonight in a region matchup. The Hurricanes of First Baptist are at Baptist Hill, so a lot of Baptisting going on there. And the Bulldogs of Silver Bluff are at Barnwell. Barnwell took it on the chin last week, Steve, against Swansea, and Coach Willie Fox has got his team off to a 5-0 start. Barnwell trying to get back on track. They're 2-3. Can you hear us and can we hear you is the biggest question.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. The gremlins are gone.
It helps when you don't have your mic button muted.
Professionally, I can tell you that it always works when the mic is unmuted. I
Yeah.
can confirm that fact.
You got to always check the mic button. You got to check it. So
we're at Whale Branch. We're at Whale Branch in Battery Creek. I don't know if you have any information on the Dolphins that we need to be aware of.
Myself, I do not. We're on a no huddle offense around here, Jay, and so we have to get through these games so quickly. There's only a few games we can actually break down. The next game we have, the Woodland Wolverines are going to the Battling Bishops of Bishop England. Justin, what do we have there?
Coach Logan Hall has got a stallion down there at Bishop England, one of the best coaches in the state. And be very careful if you're Bishop England, try to hang on to him. He might not be there for very long. Great football coach. He's got something going. How about this? You ready for a paper popper stat? Bishop England has outscored their opponents this season 187-29. 187
Amazing.
to 29. Now again, level of competition, whatever. But they stepped up in competition last week and they still won, and they're outscoring their opponents 187-29. And they run the ball. So I like Bishop England, like the Battling Bishops. But this is their toughest test. Woodland's been their toughest test this season, and it'll be their toughest test until they get later on in the season as well. So this is a hinge point game for me.
So next, we got the Oceanside. We talked about them. The down goes Fraser moment last week against Dutch Fork when they beat them in Charleston. They're going to Atlantic Collegiate. Then we got the Green Sea Floyd's Trojans. That's a lot. Going to the Carvers Bay Bears. Waccamaw is traveling to RB Stall to play the Warriors. Towns County out of Georgia is going to Dixie. That sounds like a long trip. Then White Knoll. White Knoll's going to play at Fort Dorchester. Fort Dorchester's been struggling this year, but a Nick Pelham defense traveling to there to play a team full of athletes. What do you have, Justin, for that game?
Well, I think the big thing here, and the reason I highlighted this is because White Knoll's weathered some early storms. I actually talked to Coach Pelham on our high school scoreboard show here on 107.5 here in Columbia last Friday night. He was very honest. He said, we just didn't play well early this year. I just didn't think these guys had it. That was a quote. You can always go to Nick Pelham for honesty. But this is the second straight trip down to the coast. They went to Cane Bay last time in their last game, and now they're back on the road going down to Fort D. I just want to see, can you get to 4-1 before that region? And we call it the region of death because it's just difficult. And if you're 4-1 with that Nick Pelham defense, you'll start to build confidence. They're a year older in a lot of different spots. They feel good about where they are health-wise. Now a couple weeks removed from some injuries that bit them in the first week or two of the season. And you mentioned Fort Dorchester's down. They're just down compared to where they have been historically. So a good chance for White. Now, this is not a get-right game by any stretch of the imagination going down there, but a chance to feel good about yourself, really good about yourself heading into region play next week.
I think Fort D needs to maybe channel some of their inner to carry on Joyner this week. It's funny. And then when you're mentioning this game, I was flying back from Denver yesterday, and I hopped on a connecting flight from Atlanta to Columbia, and then I was walking down the aisle of the plane. Next thing I know, I see DK right there, one of my former teammates and good brothers. We were able to connect and talk a little bit. So hopefully they can pull out some of their inner DK and get a win.
There you go.
We'll talk about a leader too. I mean, not only when he was at Fort, but when he played at Carolina, just what someone like that can do for a locker room is really, really important. As we go down, we got the Bethune-Bowman Mohawks going to play at Military Magnet. We got the Bluffton Bobcats 4-1 on the year going to play Hilton Head 4-1. That's a quick trip. Just over the bridge real quick, that's a big one for this week. I'm interested to see how that one shakes out. I think a lot of points will be scored. Hannah Pamplico is going to Johnsonville. The Flashes are 4-1 on the year, 1-0 in region. Georgetown Bulldogs 0-4 going to play May River. The Bulldogs are looking for their first win. And then we got the Bamberg-Ehrhardt Red Raiders going to play HKT, the Trojans. Justin, we got a few notes on that one.
I'll make it quick. Rivalry game. These two fan bases do not like each other. The teams do not like each other. And Bamberg-Ehrhardt's really good this year. HKT ain't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but this would be a monster win for HKT if they were able to get it at home, but technically being played at a different stadium.
We got the Hardyville Hurricanes. They're going to Ridgeland to play the Jaguars. We got St. John's Islanders going to play the Scotts Branch Eagles. The Berkeley Stags are coming off a bye week. They're 3-1, looking to get a win against the St. James Sharks tonight in Myrtle Beach. The Goose Creek Gators are 0-4, going to Somerville, 3-1 on the year, and that will not be an easy place to try to get your first win.
Right.
Down at John McKissick Field. Then the Fox Creek Predators are traveling up from the CSRA to play. Well, not traveling up anywhere, actually. I don't know why we have this one in the Low Country, but they are playing the Williston Elko Blue Devils.
I had this happen. I fixed this problem the other day. There was a problem with my spreadsheet. It had Byrnes and Dorman in the Low Country, and I'm like, that's incorrect. Byrnes and Dorman is not in the Low Country. Something happened with our spreadsheet this week. I don't know what it is. I'm looking at that too, and I'm going, Williston Elko is not in the Low Country.
Yeah, both of them would technically be in our Midlands because we lump the CSRA and the Midlands together. So we got a little early start on the Midlands. We're going to go to a quick break, but before we do, I just wanted to let our viewers know we are dedicating this episode to Justin's late niece, Ellie Faith. She passed away recently to a battle with DIPG, and we just wanted to just give our thoughts and prayers with Justin's whole family. It was Ellie's birthday yesterday, and so they have just a lot going on, and we're praying for y'all. And Justin, if you wanted to speak real quick before we go to break.
I'll try to be brief because I'll try to make it. I appreciate that. Ellie Faith was a light. She was a joy. Just a wonderful little girl. She biggest fighter I've ever known. As much courage as I've ever seen, and so selfless. And so we're honoring her on our scoreboard show, doing Fighters of the Night, honoring families across the community who are dealing with life-changing illnesses and diseases, and then honoring players as well. And we're starting to hand out bracelets as well that we had made a couple months ago. So just what I would encourage everyone to do is just to live selflessly and live with joy every single day. And keep in mind that we talk about football here. We talk about football on Inside the Gamecocks, and we do all of that. But at the end of the day, priorities are priorities. And your family is the most important thing in your life.
Morning, Carl. Usual?
Yeah.
Your oldest was in here the other day. Said the two of you took a trip down to my neck of the woods. How'd that go?
You might as well give me one of those Carolina cards while you're at it.
I knew I liked that one.
Yeah.
There you go, my friend.
Thanks.
Hey, Carl. Congratulations.
See you tomorrow, Freddie.
You bet.
Welcome to Dry Space Crawl Space Solutions. Basement crawl space encapsulation designed for your specific needs. Your crawl space can be susceptible to all sorts of issues, including moisture buildup, mold growth, and structural damage if not cared for properly. Let our trained experts provide basement crawl space encapsulation solutions to protect your home, improve air quality, and enhance energy efficiency. Schedule your consultation today for a safer, healthier space at dryspacecs.com.
Do your wood floors need a touch-up? Visit recoatrevolution.com in South Carolina today.
Welcome back to the Four Quarter Friday show. We are starting in hot again out of the break as we bring in Coach Stephen Burris from the Westwood Redhawks. He has a massive game tonight at the Castle playing the Ridgeview Blazers for a tough region game right out of the gate. And you can throw out all the records in this game. We got two teams that are very close to each other looking to go 1-0 this week. Coach Burris, this is your first year at Westwood. You're playing against one of your former bosses, and I know there's a lot of great relationships that are going to be on that field tonight. Talk to us a little bit about the game you have coming up tonight.
It was our second region game. We had a rivalry game last week against Blackwood, which is like 3.8 miles from our front door here. Another big game in our district, in our region. I don't know if I call it a rivalry because they've beaten Ridge. I think Ridge has beaten Westwood like 10 out of 13 games and 9 straight. So in order for it to be a rivalry, you got to win some games on the other side. But a big game, our community will be excited. The kids will be excited. We had a good week, so hopefully we put on a good show on tonight.
Coach, really quick question for you here, and I'll try to keep it brief. You guys have won 4 straight games, and I think a lot of that is due to your running attack. You've got 2 guys combining for nearly 1,000 yards already and 13 touchdowns on the ground. Is that the key? Is that the key to your offense? Is that the straw that's stirring the drink tonight? Do you guys need to have that run game rocking and rolling tonight at home against Ridgeview?
Without a doubt, we've got 2 of the best running backs in the state. In my opinion, Angelo Rios is a junior. I think he's right around 400 yards. Jovan Howard's a sophomore. He's right at 400 yards, and they have another 100 or so receiving each. We kind of go as they go. But when you got 2 kids with their amount of talent, that's a great problem to have. They do an excellent job of just kind of moving the chains for us, catching balls out of the backfield. They're really good in pass protection. And we have them for another year or 2 in Jovan's case. So, obviously everyone wants to establish line of scrimmage. That's kind of where the game's won and lost. We do have some kids outside that we look to be able to get some things done with. It'll be awesome play action and boots and stuff like that. But yeah, everything we do is predicated on the run game. So we got to be physical tonight on both sides of the ball. We got to tackle well. They have a lot of great skilled players. Despite their injury situation at quarterback, they still have some kids that can go out and play. So we've got a big challenge ahead of us tonight.
Coach Burris, obviously y'all have been prepping all week for Ridgeview. Ridgeview last time out before their bye beat a really good Camden team convincingly, and I was there that night. I saw their speed. They were extremely well coached. I think they scored on special teams and defense as well. How are y'all going to be successful against that defense with the amount of speed they got at linebacker, and the secondary as well is doing a really good job? Without giving us your game plan, of course, what do y'all have to do? Do y'all have to have to have the passing game open up the run any, in your opinion?
I don't think we can turn the ball over. If every drive ends with a kick, we're in good shape. Whether it's an extra point or a punt, I think we have to take care of the football. And, they've scored a special teams or defensive touchdown in every game they played this season. So you talk about the Camden game, they had 4 non-offensive touchdowns in the first half. Game's over. You dig up the analytics at any level. I don't care if it's 7U all the way up to the NFL. If you give up 4 non-offensive touchdowns, you're going to lose the football game. So, that part, when I was with Coach Howard over across the way, he'd always say, don't beat yourself. And, I've kind of carried that everywhere I've been. And so, just taking care of the little things in terms of communication up front. They're a physical bunch. Like I said, they can run sideline to sideline. So we just got to, be confident in what we're doing, communicate well up front, and just keep the chains moving. Don't get behind schedule. Just the same. It's rudimentary football. And we say nameless faceless opponents. Our scheme doesn't change from week to week. So our level of execution has to be on a high level week to week if we want to get to where I think this team could be. So regardless of who we line against, we got to do what we got to do.
That's great, Coach. It's so good to see you again. Man, I can't help but think about, obviously, you starting 4-1. We were talking before the season, and obviously that on the field success is not just, on accident. And we were talking a lot about, your culture and your standard that you were wanting to create. How has that been to see not only, that being a idea and sort of something you believe in, but, it's actually working? How has that been to see that?
I don't know if I say it's working yet. We've benefited from playing teams that aren't where we want to be in November. I mean, no disrespect to those programs, but they're not where we want to be long term. And we talk about our winning streak. So, we're going to get a test tonight, and it'll be a good measuring stick to see where we are. But, coming in May and kind of getting the foundation laid, it takes a long time to get a healthy culture in place, in my opinion. We've got 33 seniors. I think we're up 34 now. We had a kid come in, but, selling the program and the vision to them, because realistically, they got like 6 months with us, and they're gone. But they're a large part of what we're trying to get done. So getting that buy-in from them and the coaches on the front end has been a huge help, and it's kind of expedited the process a little bit. Obviously, winning always helps. Regardless of who you're beating, kids want to win. So, we're one game better than they were last year. But the challenge is to be a couple games better in November. And that's where, you kind of make your hay. So, day to day and making sure we're doing little things. So we really concentrated on just stuff in the building, being on time, just character building, leadership, talks and stuff like that. And the kids are taking to it. And I think they can kind of see where we're going. And even our wins, some of our bigger wins that we've had on this, little streak, we come back here and we're probably harder on them during that stretch than we were after we played AC Flora. So, it's tough. We missed those 2 scrimmages to start the year. And AC Flora is a fine football team, and it definitely hurt us. You could just see some operational things just weren't there when we went and played them out of the gate. And, we got some games where we were able to kind of get back on track, and a big rivalry game last week, but we still had 4 turnovers in the first half. So, I was proud of the kids that rallied, and it kind of shows you the direction that our culture is heading, where I think they may have kind of just tucked their tail. If we had turned the ball over 4 times in the first game, we lose the game, So proud of what I'm seeing so far, but we've got a long way to go.
Coach, thanks for joining us, man. We're going to go through the rest of the Midlands games here in a second, but we're looking forward to seeing this game tonight at the Castle. Before you go, though, what's your prediction? How many people are going to be in that stadium tonight? It's going to be bad.
I think they stopped letting people in on the home side last week when we went down to Blythewood. So I guess there was anywhere from 65 to 8,000 people in the stadium. So it'd probably be something similar tonight is my guess. We moved the kickoff up to 6:30. Yep. So, trying to dodge whatever weather's heading our way. So it ought to be a great night. It's cooled down a little bit. It's like 80 degrees out there right now. So hopefully the weather will cooperate with us long enough to get this game in, and we'll put on a good show.
Best of luck tonight, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.
Hey, Coach, send us some gear now. We got to represent some Westwood gear on the next show or something like that.
Fundraising, man. The brand hooks you up. We got to get it done.
All right, man. Take care. Good luck,
fellas.
Coach Burris, he's great. He's great, and they got a good football team right now too. They get a win tonight, and they're rolling.
Yeah, man. He did a great job at Lamar. He was a really good assistant coach for Coach Howard at Ridgeview. Ridgeview's obviously doing really great things too with their culture and their program, and I believe Ridgeview is actually a partner with Banner Player Development. So please contact Jay if you're a school watching and want to learn more about Banner Player Development. We're going to go through the rest of these Midland games here. We got South Aiken traveling to Airport for another region game. Midland Valley is going to Brooklyn Casey. Midland Valley is throwing the ball all over the yard, but did take their first loss in region play. So they're looking to get their first win. Brooklyn Casey is 1-0 in region. Dreer Blue Devils, they're playing at Camden. Andrew Jackson is going to Fairfield Central to go play the Griffins in Winsboro. Aiken Green Hornets, they're 1-0 in region, 2-2 on the year. Much improved team coming to Gilbert America. Gilbert is 1-3 on the year and 0-1 in region. And then we got the North Augusta Yellow Jackets going to Gray Collegiate, another huge game. Justin, you have some notes on this one?
Yeah, just really quickly. It's only the second meeting between these teams. Last year it was a 20-17 win for North Augusta. North Augusta's number 3 team in 4A. Gray's up to number 9 now. Davian McInnes of North Augusta, defensive lineman, was selected for the Energy Bowl, Touchstone Energy Bowl. The key thing here, Gray Collegiate, Trevon Williamson, you might know his dad, Troy. If you remember that catch and run against Virginia in 2004. He's got 401 yards rushing. Last week he ran for 242 against Midland Valley. This is going to – whoever wins this game has a significant leg up in this region. This region – it's not very good, and it's just not very good. So these are the two teams that I believe have the best shot at winning this region. Gray beating Midland Valley last week, already got the leg up over them. This is a defining game for this region. If North Augusta is able to come out of it again, winning this game against Gray Collegiate, we might be talking about another 10-0 season for the Yellow Jackets.
Having some technical difficulties here, Justin. Why don't you go through the rest?
Yeah. The Cyclones of Chester are at W.J. Keenan, William Jefferson Keenan. The Raiders are 2-3. Lawrence, 0-4, trying to get their first win. They're going to New Wildcat Hollow to take on the Wildcats of Lexington. Crestwood is at Lower Richland. Lower Richland's winners of 4 straight. They started out 0-1 after losing to Lugoff Elgin, but they have held opponents to a combined 27 points in this 4-game winning streak. So watch out for the Diamond Hornets. The Gamecocks of Sumter are traveling over to take on the Demons of Lugoff Elgin tonight. Batesburg-Leesville is at Mid-Carolina. The Shamrocks of Eau Claire fell last night to the Panthers of Pillion. So Pillion's now 3-2. Eau Claire falls to 4-2, but here's the thing about Eau Claire. Those 4 wins are more than the last 3 years combined for Eau Claire. So the Shamrocks are having a really good year. Newberry is at Saluda. Newberry scores points like it's going out of style. They love scoring points. I hope that the scoreboard at Saluda has a lot of fresh bulbs. They're going to need it tonight. Blythewood, coming off of that loss to Westwood, they are at Spring Valley tonight. Spring Valley sitting at 2-3. Again, they ended a long losing streak earlier this year in week number 1. See if they can rebound off of a region loss last week and get to 1-1 in the region. The Capitals of Columbia are traveling down to Swansea to take on the Tigers. Swansea is 5-0. And I see Chris makes a good note. That is correct. Batesburg-Leesville was one of those games that was played last night. I just don't have the score in front of me. The Capitals are taking on Swansea. Swansea 5-0. Coach Willie Fox doing a great job there. They got another week or two before they get into region play. They are rolling. And as we just mentioned, the Blazers of Ridgeview, I would argue the best 2-2 team in the state. They're taking on Westwood tonight. That game's been moved up to 6:30. Should be a great rivalry matchup over at Westwood.
Justin, we have the North-South rosters that were announced earlier this week. I'm super excited for this event. It's well known in the coaching community that this is the best all-star game for players. Jay, you were on the North roster when you played in your senior year. Tell us a little bit about your experience before we get off the stream here.
Yeah, so actually in the first round of the playoffs, we played Ridgeview actually at Wren, and the last play of my high school career, I got injured and tore my AC joint, and so I wasn't able to play and was having surgery, or not having surgery, but I was getting things sort of recovered before I went down to South Carolina. So wasn't able to play, but went down there to see the game, and I was there last year to watch and get to know some of the coaches there, and it was just, a first class event. And yeah, I think what you said exactly about it is just, so it's not just football. It's tied to a great cause as well, which I think is always good to have.
Yeah, I know they take all the players out shopping every week or every year for underprivileged children, not just in the Myrtle Beach area, but all over. And they give a budget. They go in these shopping carts and buy all these toys. I think they go to Target. And it's awesome to see them get to experience that. And then before we jump off, we got literally like 60 seconds left. Justin, this was a no huddle offense, even more so than normal. But Jay, you are also part of or have started a nonprofit called Original Design. Could you speak a little bit about the purpose of that nonprofit and what y'all's mission is?
Yeah, Original Design simply exists to provide resources, opportunities, and supportive relationships for children to live healthy and honorable lives. And so 8 to 12-year-olds in the city of Columbia, we're just passionate about them knowing their identity as the beloved of God and how much the Lord loves them. And so we are able to show that through a lot of ways, a year-long mentorship program where we partner them with a one-to-one mentor who loves the Lord, and we're able to just bless them. And similar to what you're talking about with the Touchdown Energy Bowl, give them opportunities to learn, important skills, like budgeting and work ethic and, learning about diet and hygiene. And so all those skills, along with their identity in Christ, we're able to hopefully make a deep impact on the next generation.
Jay, thank you for coming on the 4 Quarter Friday show. Remember, we got the Gamecock preview show coming up next. We will catch y'all next week, and see you later.
From the Low Country to the Upstate, from the Midlands to the PD, we've got you covered. This is our state. South Carolina matters to us, all of South Carolina. We love talking ball, and we love talking ball with you. Thank you for tuning in to the 4 Quarter Friday High School Show. Every Friday at 9 a.m. on the Chief Sports Network. Now, back to Justin and Steve.